This is a Brawl Network production.
Winning has a price, and leadership has a price. I challenge people when they don't want to be challenged, and I earned that right.
You're listening to the Bulls Brawl Podcast.
So I thought to myself, well, I guess I got to bail Michael out again.
He's the president of the Arturas Karnisovas fan club, and he's your host. Here's Ross.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into the Bulls Brawl Podcast. It is me, your boy Ross, from the Arturas fan club. As always, I'm here with Gaurav. Say what's up, Gaurav.
What's up, everybody?
And we are talking about everything. This is going to be a big one. We've got a lot of ground to cover. We are close. We are so close, guys. We are, you could even say, hours away from Bulls basketball being transmitted back into our eyeballs. But first, before we even get to that, we got to talk about free agency. Because the last time we spoke, we were talking about the draft, and a lot has happened since the draft. And I mean, you know, the Bulls, not really big players in the free agent market this offseason, but a lot happened, and the entire landscape of the NBA has kind of shifted a little bit. Gaurav, was there anything you feel like you've learned or any big takeaways that maybe you have coming away from the last few weeks of free agency?
I think my feelings about it is that it happened so soon. Because, I mean, this is the shortest off season, right? What's it like? It was something like 50 days or something.
Yeah, probably
I don't know
ever.
what number. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of fun, as always, to see, you know, I mean, everything go down. What did we learn? I don't know. What did we learn, Ross?
I mean, I think we learned that this isn't news. This isn't something that we didn't know. It was just kind of reinforced. But guys really like to play with LeBron. The Lakers got better after winning the finals. So, I mean, I don't know if that's news to anyone that people like playing with LeBron. But my goodness, I mean, they just signed the reigning sixth man of the year to a bargain contract, let alone getting Marc Gasol and Dennis Schroeder. Like, it's mind-boggling. I don't know. Do you look at the Lakers and just think like, bro, they're just going to repeat? Like, there's no way anyone else wins. Do you feel like that?
My unpopular opinion, my hot take, is that the Lakers have a good basketball team.
You sure?
Listen, a lot of people are gonna tweet. A lot of people are gonna come to my house and say. A lot of people they're gonna be like, Kobe died, and listen. The Lakers have a good basketball team.
This is being recorded. Like, people will hear this later.
Listen, the Lakers. I know. The Lakers have a good basketball team. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I want to remind you, at some point in the future, people will be able to hear this and pull up the receipts, as they call it, and go back to this moment and say, look at what you said. So just keep that same energy, 6 months from now. So we think the Lakers are good. We've established that the Lakers might possibly be good this season. That's fine. What about on the other side of LA? What about the Clippers? I have thoughts about the Clippers. You should share yours, because I could go in a little bit.
I don't know. When I think about the Clippers, I get sad.
Yeah,
I get sad. I don't like their jerseys. I don't like.
No.
They lost. Everything is sad about the Clippers.
Yeah.
They lost a couple of key guys. But let me know what you think. Let me hear your takes, Ross.
Well, bro, it just seems like they're running it back with the same sorry-ass scheme and squad. Like, obviously Doc Rivers, he ends up leaving, and then they bring in, like, all right, Doc Rivers leaves, and that's just a perfect opportunity for them to go and find like a nice up and coming coach who has some cutting edge ideas, ways to utilize Kawhi and Paul George differently. But no, they just bring in Ty Lue, and it's like, that's kind of the same shit you guys were already doing. I don't know. It feels like the Clippers didn't really understand what they needed to do to get better. They're just kind of doing the same shit. And I know they got Serge Ibaka. Like, that's a great pickup for them. He's a huge improvement over Montrezl Harrell. It's just, and Zubac, but it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't see them being a better team this season than they were last season. I think they're going to be worse.
When I think of Ty Lue, I just kind of think, I mean, he was on the same team as LeBron when LeBron was on the Cavs. Like, I don't actually know. Like, this will be interesting to see because I don't know. He was just playing LeBron ball, right? Like, was he? That's
exactly.
kind of that's the running joke that LeBron has been the coach of every. He's the coach. Yeah. So we might actually see like what he is as a coach.
Yeah, what
you know
he's
what I mean? Like, well, because he's not. What do you think he'll be like as a coach? Because I'm honestly kind of curious.
So this is something I was talking about on Twitter, which, any topic that we discuss here, I could say this is something I was talking about on Twitter. So I mean, just go on my Twitter at Arturis Fan Club and just search for a name, search Clippers, search LeBron. You'll just see me talking about all of it. But when you look at when you look at like people saying, "Oh, Ty Lue is a winning head coach," like no,
LeBron is a winner.
Yeah, LeBron's a winning player, and he went off in that finals. Like, I don't think back to that finals and think, man, that team with Ty Lue, ooh, like that's not what you think about. And like you think about with the Warriors, what they did. With obviously two of that will go down as two of the greatest players of all time in Steph Curry and Klay Thompson before they even signed Kevin Durant. I think back to that and I think like, okay, they were really good before they got Steve Kerr. Like when they still had Mark Jackson, that team was really good, but they weren't good enough to get over that hump. And then they bring in Steve Kerr and they run this just completely efficient, just a very fluid, amazing system that is just tailored to all of the strengths of that team. And I'm like, okay, that's a team that really benefited from having a strong head coach. Like LeBron doesn't necessarily need that strong head coach. Like, you think Frank Vogel is the reason that the Lakers won the championship? No, it's LeBron. It's always going to be LeBron. So you make a great point. We're going to see what Ty Lue is kind of made of, but I look at the Clippers and I got
to disagree with you. I think Frank Vogel is the modern day Phil Jackson, but go ahead.
Is that right? Okay. Well, I mean, he did coach the Lakers to a championship. So if he takes them to a three-peat, you might have an argument there, but I just have a hard time feeling like the Clippers did anything significant to make themselves like they got Nick Batum. What is that? What is that going to do? I know he's at a bargain, but like that doesn't fix your problem of not having a center. You still don't have a center. Like, who's going to defend Jokic in the playoffs? Who's going to defend Anthony? I mean, I guess you could have Serge Ibaka defend Anthony Davis, but I don't see them being strong enough to take any of these really good Western Conference teams, back to the Western Conference Finals or even to the NBA Finals. I just don't see it. So we don't have, well, this isn't Clippers Brawl, so we don't have to stay on the Clippers, but I feel like
they have two of the best wing defenders.
Yeah. Well,
they have two of the best defenders.
I will say I did draft Paul George in my fantasy basketball draft, and that's only purely because he is regular season P. I don't care for playoff P. I don't need playoff P because it's fantasy. But we can move on. Let's take a look at the trade that maybe got the Bucks better, maybe didn't. This is a little more relevant. Switching over to the Eastern Conference now, it's a little more relevant to the Bulls. Do you think that the Bucks are a better team now with Drew Holiday?
So I know for sure. I just became a big Drew Holiday fan. Like, okay. I just want to talk about him for a second. Like, I was watching his highlights. The dude is so fun to watch. Like, insanely talented at getting to the hole, and he has just a huge repertoire of moves. Like, his spin move in the post, I had to watch it like a few times because it was just so nice. So yeah. I like Drew Holiday. His step back is marvelous, immaculate, and gorgeous.
Good defender.
He's a good defender.
You could say great. I mean, he's one of the best defending guards in the NBA. Maybe the best.
He and the Lakers have a good basketball team.
Hot takes.
So, and I think that he can take the load off Giannis because Giannis isn't good at taking over the game in the playoffs. I think that's safe to say. Yeah,
I think that's been proven. And that's going to be the kind of the question of this season is, the Bucks more or less, they made, obviously getting rid of Eric Bledsoe and George Hill, like that is significant. They lost a lot of depth by doing that, and 3 first-rounders, which is like, I don't know, for Drew Holiday. I don't know. That you guys can argue about that all you want. I don't know. It's one of those win now moves that, like, are they going to win now? But the conversation this season will be like, they retained Coach Bud. Giannis is going to have to come back and prove that he's not a choker in the playoffs, because he's really starting to get that reputation as not being able to handle the playoffs. So, I mean, if he chokes out 3 years straight in the playoffs, and I think the Bucks are at the point now where it's like they need to make the NBA Finals or something significant might happen. Giannis might leave. They might blow up the rest of the roster. They'll probably fire Coach Bud. So they're in a tough spot where it's like they need to make it to the NBA Finals for this season to be considered a success for them.
I get to play with Drew Holiday. Listen, I can do an accent. I'm Indian. Okay. I grew up in the early 2000s.
Yeah, moving
okay?
right along, moving swiftly along. So Eastern Conference gets a new face in Russell Westbrook. What do you think about that?
So first things first, I like the number. He's going with number 4, and I like it. It just I think 2 would have been weird. I think 6 wouldn't have felt right. I think he had to stay in the single digits. And I like 4.
Gilbert Arenas didn't want to give up 0. Is that what I understand?
I don't know if, from what I understand, I thought Russ was just like, nah, I'm not taking 0. That there's one person that belongs to.
Okay. All right.
Russell Westbrook is a good basketball player.
Oh,
I can say that.
Okay, I see. That's a hot take.
I will. This is the cross to bear, the hill to die on. The hill to die on. Uh-huh. My hill to die on is that Russell Westbrook is a good basketball player.
Yeah, that's an interesting hot take in December of 2020. You won't find many people agreeing with you, I don't think. I personally,
that he's not good at basketball.
No,
Russell's not good at basketball. He does not win the championship.
I don't think he's not good at basketball. I just mean the memes these days about Russ are pretty unforgiving. Obviously, he's a still good basketball player. I don't think that's up for debate. There is an interesting conundrum with John Wall going to the Rockets now, who hasn't played in a hot minute and has dealt with many injuries, and it's like the Rockets kind of finessed a first out of the Wizards in that trade. They send Russell Westbrook over to the Wizards for John Wall and a first, and in my mind, I'm like, aren't these guys pretty? Like, isn't this kind of a lateral move? How are you getting a first for that trade? I don't know, but what? So I guess looking at the other side of it, what do you think John Wall brings for the Rockets?
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then the teach me how to dunk. He brings that for sure. I don't think he's going to do the dance, but I think he's going to bring that kind of energy to the locker room for sure. John Wall, I mean, we all remember the photos of him looking like he was kind of drunk and high at the same time, drinking champagne on an airplane in that one photo.
Yeah.
That didn't look very good. It wasn't a good look. He looked a little fat.
Yeah. Do you think he's gonna bring gang signs? Do you think he'll do gang signs in the Rockets?
They're going to be booing. They're going to be cripping. They're going to be banging. They're going to be doing all sorts of things, and they're going to be titty slapping. There's going to be fat shaming. There's going to be James Harden. Why are you smoking crack in the middle of my living room? There's going to be a lot of, hey coach, can we tell James Harden that he's not supposed to shoot the basketball 450 times 150 times a minute, John Wall. Why are you doing the Dougie? We're in the middle of the third quarter. There's going to be a lot of that.
All right. We'll get into Harden later. But Eastern Conference has changed a lot. It's interesting to see Russell Westbrook in the Eastern Conference. That's something that's never happened before. So we'll see. I mean, I think the Wizards overall are still not a very good team. This kind of seems like another OKC situation after KD left. Like, Russ might be able to bring him to a late seed, but I just don't see them doing much else past that. Another team in the East that's interesting and is, I don't know, it's relevant for the Bulls because these are teams that are further down in the seeding that we might be competing with in order to make the playoffs. But would be the Hawks, who get I
like the Hawks.
Yeah, they get former Bull Chris Dunn. They get Rajon Rondo, which was interesting. They get Danilo Gallinari, which, worth pointing out, Gallinari is getting paid the same amount of money as Zach LaVine is right now, and Gallo's coming off the bench. So that's interesting. Just a thing to chew on for a minute. I think the Hawks got a lot better defensively, especially at those guard and wing positions. I think Rajon Rondo is going to be a great mentor for Trae Young in terms of upping those playmaking abilities, and even defense. Like, Rajon Rondo played defense at one point in his career, so even on the defensive end of things. What do you think? Are the Hawks an actual contender in the East right now?
I think they're a threat. I think that they have a case for the for the 7th or 8th seed in the East. Well, I guess the question I have is, what do you think the Hawks were lacking? Because they got the star. I don't know if he's not a rookie anymore, but Trae Young is phenomenal, fun to watch.
Yeah,
needs to do something about his hair, but fun to watch. What were they lacking? What did they need? And then, do you think that they got that?
Well, they were definitely lacking the kind of defender that will take on the opponent's best offensive player. They didn't really have that kind of guy who could take LeBron one-on-one, who could take Kawhi one-on-one, Paul George, guys that are really good scorers who could match up against that kind of player. Obviously,
you think Chris Dunn would be taking Luka then?
Possibly. Chris Dunn is that kind of defender. He's long. He's really long for a guard. He's just a really, really tough-nosed, just hard to play against kind of defender. Very scrappy. I like Chris Dunn. I don't think that needs to be, hidden. I like Chris Dunn a lot. He was fun to watch on the Bulls. Underachieved a little bit. Struggles offensively. Hawks don't really need him to play offense though. So I think in some ways, yes, they kind of addressed that problem, but they didn't really solve it. And it's going to kind of be one of those things that they try to solve by committee. Cause like I said, you got Rajon Rondo, they got Tony Snell. We'll see. He plays defense. Obviously they got Gallinari now. And they got Bogdanovich, who I completely forgot to bring up.
I was just going to say, dude, that guy is wet from 3. He kind of looks like a Kmart Klay Thompson. Yeah,
absolutely. So I mean, those are players that are gonna put up battles. I don't know if they have enough juice on the defensive end to really keep up and make a real run in the playoffs. But this is a better team than they were last year, and they have plenty of defense down low. With John Collins and Clint Capella, they're definitely a well-rounded team. They're more well-rounded than before. And I think Bogdanovich is going to be a great pickup for them. Same thing, like I said, with Chris Dunn. Those are two guys that are just going to come in and help Trae Young do the things that he struggles with. So, I mean, long story short, I think the Hawks are going to be a team that the Bulls have to look out for. All that said, Bulls in 4.
Definitely.
Right.
Bulls in 4.
Bulls in 4. Cool. So the biggest signing of the offseason, which we have yet to get to, aside from, Anthony Davis re-signing with the Lakers, would be Garrett Temple signing with the Bulls. The Bulls got their superstar, didn't even need to take a look at Anthony Davis, didn't need a meeting with him. They saw Garrett Temple and they're like, this is our guy. We got our star. Do you know who Garrett Temple is?
Garrett Bartholomew Temple.
My guy.
Garrett, who is that guy Temple?
Is that the nickname?
Garrett, who is that guy at the Temple?
Garrett, we're going to Temple. That's my grandma.
Yeah.
If I had a cousin named Garrett, it would have been Garrett, we're going to Temple. Yeah, get your clothes on. Get your Friday evening suit on.
There's only 14 million of us.
There's no alliteration. There's no Sunday service suit. You don't get alliteration when you're Jewish. You get your Friday evening suit for Temple.
Oh, you guys do it on Friday? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a Friday evening Temple. Yeah, because
come on.
On
That's
Sunday you're
is that
resting.
fun?
Yeah. So it's
What time?
it's Garrett, who's that new guy at Temple.
All right.
Okay. Do you know who he is as a basketball player?
I did have to do a little bit of research, and what I'm seeing is he is a superstar.
Right.
Averaged 10 points, 3 and 2 last year. He shoots free throws at 80%. That's pretty huge. And he played 62 games, and he is 6'5", 195 pounds, 196 centimeters, 88 kg for our European listeners.
Man, you can read. Look at you.
I got 2 eyeballs and I got a brain.
Man, I had my doubts, but you can read, my friend. Garrett Temple is another one of these guys. I'll go Chris Collinsworth on you for a second. I know that might be a reference that's missed on you, Gaurav. A lot of our listeners watch football too. Now here's a guy. Now here's a guy that fits Arturas Karnisovas's direction and the things, the vision, the plans that he keeps laying out for Bulls fans, which he has said time and time and again, drafting Patrick Williams, things like that, retaining Denzel Valentine, things like that. He likes this positionless, fluid, flexible kind of basketball where you get a guy like Garrett Temple who can switch between different positions. You can run him at the 1 technically. You can run him at the 3. He's going to be a good defender. You know he's a reliable defender. You know he's going to shoot threes. You know he's going to hit his free throws, like you said. He's going to get steals. He's just he's kind of like a more distinguished and probably better looking Denzel Valentine. Go look at them side by side. They look eerily similar. But this guy just fits a lot of the things that Arturas likes. And I think he's going to be an important piece. Like, I don't think they brought him in to be a backup who doesn't play much. Like, he's going to be a rotational player for this team. And I think he's another important piece or another important tool in Billy Donovan's toolbox of guys who he can plug and play at 1, 2, and 3. And maybe even 4. I don't know if Garrett Temple would ever play he would never play the 4 probably. But you get a guy like Patrick Williams who can play the 4, and suddenly you're plugging and playing guys at different positions that you never thought possible. You know, this is like 4D Legos. Like you're going each and every direction. You never knew that you could do this. So it's like a toddler gets a hold of some crack and starts playing with Legos. Like, bro, there's anywhere you could go with this. So I like Garrett Temple. I don't think he's a flashy signing. They didn't really need to make a flashy signing. They didn't have the cap space to make a flashy signing. So this is kind of the trend for this year is retool, develop, and get ready for next year, which Arturas actually said this himself. They're getting ready to spend in free agency next year. That's kind of what he alluded to when talking about Garrett Temple. So I think he's a good fit for what the direction of this team is. I like it. There's not much to say about it. It's not great. It's not horrible. You know, we'll see. We'll have to see.
It is so unremarkable, Ross.
Yeah. I'm trying to talk you into it.
I admire your ability to like dive into it, but holy shit, is the signing so unremarkable. I'm sorry.
Well, we signed a little bit better Denzel Valentine. Look at it that way.
You do. I get so sad when I think about Denzel Valentine.
Yeah. Kind of a sad
because
story.
he peaked in the preseason, or maybe even it was before preseason when
Summer
he hit
League.
that game winner.
It was Summer League, yeah.
Yeah, it's sad to watch a man peak at his first day in the Summer League.
They won the Summer League championship.
That's 7. That's 7.
That's 7. What an accomplishment, man. Leave Denzel alone, all right? He's dealt with some injuries. He's got a good heart. He's got a good energy. That's about all I can say. His teeth need some work.
Denzel Valentine, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but also, I mean, we're never going to meet.
Well, hey,
we're never going to meet.
If somehow you are listening to this, hit us up. Like, come on the podcast.
Please join and hop on.
Yeah, like hang
We'd
out
love to
with
have
us.
you.
Yeah. But I mean that's about it for the Bulls in terms of free agency. Like They brought in Noah Vonleh to, I don't know, compete in training camp. I think they brought in a couple other guys, but like it's just been super unremarkable, like you said. There's really nothing insane going on. But you know, like I said, Garrett Temple is the vision of the future for the Bulls. Yeah, just stop for a second. And the idea is next season, we're going to come back and we're going to try to spend a little bit more in the free agent market. You know, I think the idea here for free agency was we're not gonna be one of these teams that's stuck with one of these crazy contracts. We're just gonna run it back with our guys because they understand that they're gonna cakewalk to the NBA Finals and win the 7th title this season. Why spend more than they need to, you know? So let's just run it back with the guys we got. We don't need to be super overpowered. So yeah, the Bulls are being kind to the rest of the NBA. The only other free agent signing that I think is worth mentioning is that the Bulls brought in Zach Norvell Jr. It's either Norvell or Norville, who actually
huge.
He actually played high school ball at Derrick Rose's alma mater at Simeon High School. So he's back in Chicago, which is a cool story. I don't know if he'll play, but it's a pretty cool story. And then, you know, they brought in Devon Dotson as an undrafted free agent. And I like him. He's another guy who was technically born in Chicago, was a starter for a really, really good Kansas team in college before everything got shut down, and played really well for them too. So, I mean, I think he's the kind of guy that I'm low-key looking at and getting like irrationally hyped for. Have you heard anything about Devon Dotson? Have you looked him up at all?
I have been keeping up with this guy for years. I watched him in middle school. I would.
That's kind of
they
creepy.
wouldn't let me. I would say, can I please watch the guy play? And they'll say, who do you know here? This is a middle school. And I say, I have to see this guy play. I gotta see this guy play. He's a star. Please let me see him.
You know, that's interesting you say that because, like, there are basketball prodigies that come along every now and then that, you know, like LeBron or Jabari Parker, or Anthony Davis, that people want to see when they're in, like, middle school or whatever. And it's just...
Spend time with your kids or something. What are you doing?
That's so strange. Like
Pick up a hobby. What are you doing?
A grown man... Yeah, a grown man going to see, like, a bunch of nose-picking middle schoolers play basket. Like, that's just so weird. Go do something else. Fucking ride a bike. I don't know, bro. Like, get a life. But yeah, they signed Devon Dotson. That'll be cool. So moving right along in the same vein as free agent signings, there's one notable player that is looking to not hit free agency, and that's Lauri Markkanen, who actually expressed interest after, I believe, requesting a trade last season during the height of the Jim Boylan era, if you can call it that. He expressed a desire to get a new deal done with the Bulls and said his agent is working on it. And I think Arturas said something to the same vein, that they are working with his agent to get a new deal done. Gaurav, do you want to see Lauri in Chicago for 3 or 4 more years?
I want him in my home.
Okay.
I want to buy hotels with this guy. I want to buy property with Lauri. I want to rent out to tenants. I want to just take.
You want to be a landlord?
Responsible loans. For Lauri, you never know.
Okay.
Lauri will turn me into a.
He's from
the high post. Jump hooks, floaters, soft touch.
He's European, bro. He's definitely into socialism. He's definitely not for land ownership or, you know, landlordship, however you would call that. He's not
Scandinavian, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's Finnish.
Give me my healthcare. That's how they sound like that. Give me my healthcare. It's not an Italian accent.
I don't know about that one, man. I don't know if
I'm Indian. I can do voices.
Yeah, but that's not Finnish. That didn't sound Finnish.
He's got the high post, jump hook, floater, and soft touch.
Hey, Gaurav.
Remember the game? He scored 35. Yeah.
Are you finished?
Yeah. Glory.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Lori might be here to stay. I'd love to see it. I'd love to.
He's staying with me.
He's gonna stay with the Bulls and technically stay with Gaurav at his house, in the burbs.
We'd love to have you, Lori.
I wonder where he lives. Go find him.
We buy property together.
How much? What does a nice condo go for in Chicago these days?
Depends. We'd probably go somewhere in the Chicago land area, so somewhere like Palatine. Palatine, you can get a nice condo for maybe $200,000.
You want to be a slumlord in Palatine?
Yeah, I'm building my empire there.
Okay, in Palatine,
Illinois. It's definitely an up and coming area. You know, there's a Macy's. There's Lori Marketing. We have two things: the Macy's and the Lori Marketing. I represent Palatine. I'm the mayor.
Man,
I'm the mayor.
Listeners out there, we need to do something about the gentrification of Palatine.
Free Palatine.
Free Palatine. Okay, before we offend more people, let's take a look at Bulls camp. It's preseason, baby. We are in the throes of camp right now. They are practicing. They are talking to the media. Like, they're there. You know, it's all happening. Everybody is there. They're getting ready for the preseason here on Friday night against the Rockets. So just a couple things that I've heard so far in some of these interviews, and we can take them one by one. But one of the first things that stood out to me is that it sounds like Coby White is the point guard going forward. Billy Donovan and Coby himself pretty much confirmed it, and I think that's a great story. Just Billy Donovan in general, it sounds like the players love him. And everyone says he's a player's coach. He's asking what we want to do. He's trying to get a feel for how we like to play the game. Coby White, to you, Gaurav, is he your point guard of the future?
He's my point guard.
Yes, sir.
Billy Donovan is my coach.
Yes, sir.
Zach LaVine is my husband. Lori Markkinen is my business partner. Wendell is my godfather.
Yeah. What's our tourist?
Garrett Bartholomew Temple is my cousin-in-law. Arturas Karnisovas, he is my grandfather. He is my father's father. He is my father's father's father, my mother's father, my mother's uncle. Don't take this literally. I'm no incest. This man is every relationship I have. Just replace everyone in my life with Arturas Karnisovas, and my life is so much better. My life is so much better. I don't need a sister, brother, cousin. I need Arturas.
Exactly.
Arturas. I need to buy a king-size bed.
Right.
I need to buy a king-size bed.
Right. Exactly.
I love this man.
I love
Lori.
I love Arturas. If my wife and Arturas Karnisovas are drowning at the same time and I can only save one, catch me at my wife's funeral with Arturas playing volleyball, because that's my guy. And Arturas said that he's in the weight room with the players.
I'll be his surrogate.
Okay. Thank you. I don't think he was looking for a volunteer, but thank you. This guy is everything to me. Okay. This guy is the reason I wake up in the morning. Like, this dude has brought life back into my favorite sports franchise. There's no other sports to me. Okay. Chicago Bears. What is that? Is that a new kind of bear that was found in the Chicago area?
Ross, you know that I've been a football fan my whole life. I live, breathe, cook, clean, wash. Football is my life.
More than me. You've always loved football way more than I did.
People know me. There's so many people who know me, and everyone would say, Gaurav, he loves football. He loves football. Gaurav doesn't love football anymore.
Really? You used to wear a cup all the time.
I used to wear a cup.
In the shower.
That's actually the most important place to be wearing a cup.
Right. You wore it at all times. Are you still doing that?
I'm wearing a cup.
Okay.
First of all, when you're hanging out with people like Lori Markkinen and Wendell, and Coby White, and Billy Donovan, Arturas Karnisovas, some of these people are very, they have a boyishness to them. Sometimes they want to do a little ball tap. I'm prepared for it. These are my buddies. This is my family.
Right. And that
I love these folks.
And that brings us to the perfect opportunity to talk about our friends over at Manscaped. When you need to wear a cup at all hours of the day, you need to make sure that your boys down there are ready to handle that kind of friction. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Get the Lawnmower 3.0. Make sure your boys are ready for the cup. And that's our Manscaped plug. So Kobe White is our point guard. I think that was the point that we were establishing. I am really excited to see the growth that Kobe White has made over the past 9 months. At this point, when we watch Bulls basketball again, I'm really excited to see how he plays with his actual real life friend Patrick Williams. I don't think people realize that when the Bulls drafted Patrick Williams, but Kobe White and Patrick Williams have known each other for a really long time, and they're like actually friends. And he said that, you know, he's been having a ton of fun having this guy around, you know, who he knows and he can make jokes with and has a rapport with. Gaurav, is that something you can relate to? Because I really can't.
I grew up with these guys.
Yeah.
I was there. I'm pretty sure I was there when Kobe White had his bar mitzvah. I was at his bar mitzvah. I know these guys.
Yeah.
I know them. They know me. We're friends. We go to Buffalo Wild Wings. People say Buffalo Wild Wings is overrated. They say Gaurav, Buffalo Wild Wings is overrated. I say no. Me and Kobe White go to Buffalo Wild Wings. We've been friends since we were 5 years old. We're cousins. We're brothers. We're sisters. I know these guys.
Were you at his bris?
I was at his brisk iced tea. I was at everything.
They did it when he was like 17. It was really unconventional. You were there?
Something, you know, we don't know.
I see.
People are saying it, and then some aren't. You know, you gotta trust the facts. You gotta trust where it's coming from. Who's going where? You know.
Sure. No, I think it's important.
Oh, you know the thing.
I think it's important to support your friends. And if you have a friend out there that wants to get a bris, even though they're, you know, older than a infant, you should support them and you should be there for them because it's an important step in a young man's life.
Dude, what's a bris?
It's when you get circumcised and there's a bunch of people watching.
All right, you.
That's a Jewish thing.
I am anti-circumcision. We don't got to go into that.
Okay. Welcome to the Bulls Brawl podcast, where we talk about circumcision on a regular basis.
Should be illegal. Go
okay, thank you. Leave your responses in the reviews. Let us know how you feel about circumcision. So Kobe White, like we were just talking about, is the point guard of the future. Very excited to see how he plays in Billy Donovan's offense. Very cool. So aside from that, I heard Daniel Gafford say some interesting things about the Bulls changing up their defensive style and maybe being a little bit less aggressive, so that it leads to more opportunities for steals and fewer opportunities for wide open shots. I mean, I know that it was difficult to watch the Jim Boylan era. And it's something that they were actually good at during the Jim Boylan era was defense. If they were good at anything, that was the one thing they actually were good at. I think that it's an interesting foundation that the Bulls are working with here, where they have a team that was already pretty solid defensively, and now they're bringing in a coach who knows how to run an effective offensive system and can put his guys in the best positions to succeed. And like, I don't want to get too hyped up and I don't want to, you know, start mainlining the Kool-Aid, but I'm really excited that this team has such a solid foundation that they're working with. Like on paper, we've talked about this. This team isn't that bad, and now they have a legitimate head coach coming in to really shake things up. What's your read on Billy Donovan? I know you said that he was, I think your brother or your dad or something?
He has a head of hair. That's what it is.
Nice
Jim
looking
Boylan
guy.
Didn't have hair.
Yeah.
Sample size of one. If you don't have hair, you're sad, you're unhappy, you coach poorly, Zach LaVine hates you, everybody wants you out of the locker room. They don't care if they...
You're onto something there. Because head coaches that don't have hair in Chicago are not doing so hot lately. Like you look
Phil
at
Jackson, hair.
Matt Nagy for the Bears, he's bald as you can be on top. He wears the visor and he's still bald. Not doing so hot right now. Jim Boylan, not doing so hot. Fred Hoiberg, I didn't have a lot of hair. he kind of, I think he had like a Hitler Youth cut, right? Something like that.
No, he had hair.
Let me, I'm gonna look up.
Billy Donovan has better hair, and that's why he's happy. That's why everyone loves him. He's not insecure. He loves family. He is here. I wanna speak to the people. I'm a man of the people. You know this, right?
Yeah.
I'm a man of the people. There's a lot of smart folks talking about basketball. They say a lot of smart things. I wanna speak to the gut of our fans. So what we're gonna see this year, we're gonna see a lot of high fives. We're going to see a lot of passes to Lauri Markkanen. He's going to very nice floater. We're going to see a lot of that. We're going to see Zach LaVine shoot a three and it going in. We're going to see, not fist bumps. We're going to see chest bumps. We're going to we're going to probably have a very nice crowd. Yeah. We're going to see the new jersey. Hey, we're going to see a lot of happiness, a lot of smiles,
the more men touching each other, the better this season will be.
A lot of slap ass, a lot of Kobe White hitting the three, and the hair is going to look really nice.
I want to hear it too. Happy. I want to hear an audible ass slap on television, because there won't be fans there. There won't be a crowd, so I'm not going to hear the crowd. But I want to hear I want to hear it. I want to hear the smack of the ass live on television.
Lauri Markkanen's averaging 35.
Oh yeah.
Lauri Markkanen is averaging 35 assists a game.
We'll get to our season predictions here maybe later or on a different pod. But just to confirm, it looks like Fred Hoiberg has kind of a short crew cut. So not a lot of hair. Not a lot of hair. Billy Donovan has already upped the hair game in all of Chicago. There are kids that are changing up their hairstyles to match Billy Donovan. There are kids getting ready. They're asking their parents, "Hey, next Halloween, I want to go as Billy Donovan." Like, it's already started. So he's started a movement in Chicago, and you absolutely love to see it. Moving right along, though, he's got
a good head of hair. He's got a good head. Go on.
No, so there's not a lot of adult men. And I say men, not boys or guys, adult men who go by the name Billy. Billy Donovan's the only one that I am like comfortable with,
He sounds like, hey, I'm Billy Donovan. I love this country, but I understand the problems that we're facing. He sounds like one of those.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think of like a guy like Billy Ray Cyrus, and it's like I hate that name. Billy Corgan, like fuck, I hate that name. Like those names are just really, really lame. Billy Joel, like dude, just be William, Get a different last name. Don't have two first names. But
I'm Billy Donovan. I'm a churchgoer, but I understand in these times you cannot be going to church. There are more important things than church is in your heart. Right. The church building is different than the church. You can have church without the church building. We have to take care of this virus. We have to be good to each other. Sorry.
I could hear Billy Donovan being like, the church is the gym. We get in the gym, and that is our church. And when we're playing ball, that is our service. I could hear that. I think Billy Donovan, he sits down with Zach LaVine, one day, and he's like, Zach, I saw you pray to the Lord out there with those threes, and I think the Lord was listening.
He's from New York.
Yeah, he does not have a Southern accent at all, and he looks like he's from New York too.
I'm Billy Donovan.
I'm Billy Donovan.
I'm a coach of the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, I put grease in my fucking hair. What about it?
I take my job very seriously.
He does sound like that. And he's a total greaser. Yeah.
Oh, really? I've never heard him talk.
Yeah, but anyway, speaking of 3-point shooting, did you hear that Wendell Carter Jr. is popping threes?
I heard about this.
Yeah?
And I'm surprised I didn't hear about it sooner because he's my cousin's wife's brother.
Right.
And I guess we haven't. Tell me more.
I saw a clip of him in slow motion on the Bulls Twitter account shooting a 3-pointer. That's about all I got for you right now. I just heard that he was shooting threes, and I saw him shoot a 3. So I think he's going to be the scoring champ this season. That's what I got out of that.
Averaging 35 assists, 35 rebounds, 35 points. Wendell Carter Jr. plays for the Chicago Bulls, 6'9", wingspan 7'5", drafted 2018, current team Chicago Bulls, played for Duke. We love this guy. We love him. We know him. He's 21 years old. He was born the 16th of April. He's a Scorpio. We know this. We love him.
We know this. We've known this. We knew this. We'll know it again in the future. I think the league is
We think about it.
Yeah, we think about it. I think the league is on notice about Laurie and Wendell. You know, I think the league knows these guys are going to average 35 in all major categories. There's something we must do to stop them. But anyway, those are some of the things that we've been watching. Let's start looking forward a little bit and talking about the things that we might see. So the Bulls' first preseason game is up this Friday against the Houston Rockets. Drama in Houston. Oh, never saw that coming, did you?
Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I should coin that. That's a good one.
That's original. That's a Gaurav original, trademarked. Yeah, whoever saw drama in Houston couldn't be. But yeah, no, there's drama with the Rockets. Newly traded for John Wall has yet to comment on this situation, I don't think, but I don't even know. Is he at training? I need to look it up. I need to see if John Wall is there. But James Harden certainly hasn't been. I guess the latest news is that he showed up and got tested for the Rona, but just a couple days ago, he was out partying at a club. He was saying that, you know, he wasn't sure. Well, he wasn't saying anything. The coach of the Rockets, Coach Silas, was saying, we don't know where he is. You know, that's up to him, you know, if he wants to show up. So weird situation down in Houston.
He's not Dennis Rodman. You can't get away with this.
No, you can't. Imagine Dennis Rodman playing through a global pandemic.
Dude, he wouldn't give a fuck. Or maybe he'd be unpredictable. He's always unpredictable. Yeah, right?
He might actually like die. You know, like he might just.
Wait, you mean like right now?
No, I mean like if he was playing basketball during the pandemic, like he might just get coronavirus and die as a complication of all the other myriad health problems he probably has. I don't know. That sounds like a really morbid thing to say, but it's just like, bro, like Dennis Rodman is not the kind of person I don't think that a global pandemic could slow down. Like we're talking about the guy who went to North Korea to play basketball and hang out. Like I don't think
I know that he actually played basketball in North Korea. I thought he just went to go hang out.
I'm pretty sure he played Kim Jong-un one-on-one. Like this dude does not have.
Who won?
I don't know. I think Kim Jong-un would be the story we hear. I'd be interested to talk to Dennis Rodman candidly and find out. But I don't think
we'd love to have you.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on the pod, Dennis. No harm or offense intended. But I think Dennis Rodman doesn't have the risk assessment gene in his brain that people are usually born with. Like I don't think he can assess risks. But like you said, he's very unpredictable. So it might have been like everyone during the pandemic is like, I don't want to wear a mask, and Dennis Rodman's like, no, you really should, and you should stay home.
You got to wear a mask. Me and Michael was saying, Dennis, you got to wear a mask.
You got to wear a mask. Yeah, you got to wear. I was going that way, but everybody wanted me to go the other way, so I wore a mask.
I was talking to Dennis, and I talked to Michael, and then I talked to Dennis. I said, Dennis, you have to wear a mask. That's Scotty. It took me like a minute to get.
No, that's not Scotty. You have to bring up the fact that you were underpaid and that Michael Jordan is overrated at some point.
They only paid me $4 an hour.
Right.
This is back when minimum wage was $5 an hour.
Right. He can't go 30 seconds without bringing up something he's mad about from the 90s. But
I'm the Chicago Bull of all time. People, I'm from Alabama. People know this.
Is that your new catchphrase? People know this?
People know this.
People know this. So the Bulls play the Rockets. I mean, it's preseason. It doesn't mean a lot. But do you want to give me a quick and dirty little prediction about who you think's going to win the game?
Bulls in 4.
Bulls in 4. Good answer. They play 2 games against the Rockets, so Bulls in 4.
Bulls in 4.
And you know, the Bulls also dropped their schedule this past week, and there's some interesting games. So I mean, the first game is a home game against those aforementioned Hawks with Chris Dunn and Rajon Rondo returning to the United Center. Rajon Rondo, former Bull, don't you ever forget it. That should be an interesting game.
He's as important to the city as Michael Jordan, I think.
Yeah, no, I don't think that was ever up for debate. I think everyone's been in agreement that Rajon Rondo is an icon in Chicago, much like Michael Jordan was an icon in Chicago. A couple games after that, they're going to play against the Warriors in that shiny new stadium in Oakland. Well, not in Oakland, but in San Francisco, because they left Oakland. That'll be interesting. The new look Warriors against the similarly looked Bulls. Just giving you a quick rundown of some of the important games. January 3rd, they've got a pretty good game against the Dallas Mavericks with good old boy Luka coming into town. That'll be fun to watch. I like watching Luka, so any excuse to sit down and watch him will be fun. But that said, Patrick Williams is going to shut that guy down right quick. I guess, I mean, like, that's the thing with Luka is that he's a tall point guard, so even though technically it would, like, if you're going to go 1 through 5 traditional basketball, you would think Kobe White would be defending Luka, but I doubt it. I think it's going to be who's ever playing at the 3, which might be Patrick Williams, might be Otto Porter Jr. We'll see. Because I don't really see Zach LaVine defending him. So we get to play the Lakers on January 8th. So give me an over-under on how much do you think the Bulls will beat the Lakers by?
See, I think what happens when the Bulls beat and play and beat the Lakers is LeBron, he's going to be in Chicago or in LA. I don't remember what you said. They're going to be in Chicago, and LeBron is going to think about his time in Chicago when he beat us every single time, and he's going to say, I can't do it again.
Right.
My arms are tired. My knees are tired. The city is daunting. People are calling it the Willis when it's the Sears. This weighs heavy on LeBron. And then AD's from Chicago. AD is trying to cheer up LeBron. He's saying, LeBron, you have to cheer up. We are about to play a basketball game. And what happens is LeBron remembers when Rajon Rondo played for the Bulls. Rajon Rondo played with LeBron last year. Coincidence? I think not. No. So we're going to see a lot of crazy things happen in that game. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Bulls, it's going to be something like 112 to 84, maybe 86.
Okay. No, that's
Celtics.
That's a respectable score. We can talk about this. Anthony Davis was scared to play in Michael Jordan's shadow. He was afraid that being back in Chicago would remind him of all the things that he wasn't capable of doing without LeBron. So he had to go back to Daddy Bron, and we're gonna whip their butts. I think we're gonna show them who's boss. And speaking,
Lauri Markkanen scores 50
at least in that first half.
Yeah.
Moving along, we get to play the new face in Charlotte, LaMelo Ball, on January 22nd, which is kind of cool. I mean,
future Hall of Famer.
You think so?
Yeah.
Should I hold you to that?
Don't hold me to anything ever.
I'll just hold you.
Just hold me.
I'll just hold you. Okay. We get to play the Trailblazers on January 30th, the new look Trailblazers, who we didn't even get to mention back in our free agency segment, but they got a lot better.
Yeah, they got the guy who can dunk. What's his name? And I think it was D Wade that made him win, and then it was a big controversy. Who was the guy? Remember Aaron Gordon? The guy who can dunk. He put the ball underneath. He sat on the ball, brought it up, and then dunked it. Aaron Gordon.
You're talking about Derrick Jones Jr.
Yeah, but he is on the Portland Trailblazers.
Yes, they did that.
That is a fact.
That is a fact. Yeah, I can't really argue with facts. No. I mean, that team is going to be fun to watch. They brought back Enes Kanter. Yeah,
I can't say that.
Sorry, I'm sorry. That was not PC for the podcast.
Yeah, you can't say that.
I
don't even know.
I'll cut that out. So we get to see them January 30th. The next day, or I don't know, math is hard. We get to see the next game, 2 games in a row, which they're calling like a double header, I guess, in basketball. We get to play the Knicks.
Which get to play the Knicks.
Yeah, the Knicks get to play us. We should say. Should be quite a slugfest.
Shorter season?
Shorter season, yeah, 72 games. We only get the first half of the season released so far. They have not yet released the second half of the season. But yeah, we'll play the next 2 games consecutively and beat them both times. Moving along, my birthday.
I don't think the Bulls will lose a single game.
Yeah, no, I don't see why they would. It's a short season. All these teams are worse than them, so
70 whatever and 0.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy. On my birthday, the Bulls are going to play the Pelicans. We'll get to see Zion get shut down by Wendell Carter Jr. That'll be fun. Clippers on the 12th. We'll play the Clippers a few times this season, which will be interesting because they're not going to be any good. So that'll be easy dub for us. The Bulls have just 1 game in primetime throughout this entire season. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I might be wrong about that. It might be none. I thought we had 1, but
I think it was 0.
I'm double checking because I remember reading that there was 1 game on ESPN. Yeah, no, the Bulls have 1 game on ESPN. That's January 17th against the Philadelphia 76ers. So
I'm throwing hands.
I think we should get some 76ers fans on the podcast for that game. I think that'll be fun to talk to some Philly guys. Do you have a Philly accent?
I don't know what Philly. I mean, Boston, Chicago is kind of similar. I don't quite know the Philly. Do you know the Philly?
No, not really.
I don't even think people in Philly know the Philly.
Yeah.
Trash talk. Let it begin.
I think they just say horrible things, and that's their accent. I think just saying really miserable, horrible things about people who are professionals in their field, like athletes.
Like Boston, okay.
Similar to Boston, except people in Boston just don't know how to speak English on top of that. They just speak English improperly on top of not saying good things ever.
It's never met minority.
Yeah, exactly, right. You know, you grow up around only racist white people. I guess you're just going to keep being a racist white person. Whatever. We love you, Boston. Thanks, guys.
Love to have you on
the pod. Thanks for all the
city of.
Thanks for all the Twitter follows. Okay, don't unfollow me. Okay, but I mean for the most part, that's what we're looking at for the upcoming season. A lot of good games. Going to be fun. The Bulls will not be hosting fans to start the season at the United Center. They just announced, which is kind of a bummer, but we expected it and probably the right move. Got to keep all those liberals happy. So, just had to do the right thing to keep the liberals happy. What do you think about liberals?
My favorite thing about people is when they think something and it's incorrect, and then it stays that way. That's just a thing that I think a lot of people should strive towards being like. You should have things that you think. Many of them should be wrong. By the way, I voted for Biden. Shut the fuck up.
Well, no, don't tell them that. We need to die from a treatable virus to flex on the libs.
I love Trump, but I voted for Biden. No, that's true, except for the voting for Biden part. I'm sleepy, guys.
Yeah, we're all bro. Fuck it, we sleepy, bro. It's 2020. Fuck yeah, we sleepy, bro. Who the fuck ain't sleepy these days? Come on, man. We all sleepy. And I think that's a perfect place to stop for now. Is that we sleepy, and we're excited. We're very excited.
But we're not sleeping on the Bulls.
Nah, we're sleepy in life and awake for the Bulls, man. We are here. We are ready for some Bulls basketball. It is coming very, very shortly. And I think, we'll be back to recap the game, talk about what we saw, what we want to see. This season is going to be a lot of highs. I think it's going to be one of those exponential, charts where we just keep going. Where there's not going to be any point where we dip back down. We're just going to keep going up and up. So make sure you're here for the ride, guys. For Bulls Brawl, I am Ross of the Arturis Fan Club. I'm at Arturis Fan Club on all platforms. This is my guy, Gaurav. Gaurav, what is your at one more time?
I'm on Twitter. It's Gaurav, spelled Gaurav. Kumar isms. Kumar is spelled like Kumar, and isms like isms. Gaurav Kumar isms. I might change Gaurav Kumar isms, but for now, that's what I am on Twitter.
Cool.
Gaurav Kumar isms.
Very good. Any parting wisdom? Any thoughts? Any observations you'd like to share before we get out of here?
We're having 4 All-Stars.
4 All-Stars. Any award winners?
A dual MVP, Zach Levine and Kobe White.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Lauri Markkanen gets Most Improved. Wendell Carter Jr. gets Defensive Player of the Year. Patrick Williams, Rookie of the Year. What other awards do they have?
Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year, Billy Donovan. Satoransky, Sixth Man of the Year, I guess. Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford is your Sixth Man of the Year. Shout out Daniel Gafford. Really cool guy. Always got time to say hi. Pops in our group chat all the time. And he's got
Artura's Father of the Year.
Father of the Year, absolutely. GQ Man of the Year, Cristiano Felicio, absolutely. And I think we've covered them all. AVN Performer of the Year. Who would that be? Ryan Archidiakono.
Yep.
And we will catch you guys on the next episode. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Bye, everyone.